Hi, this is Herb. I have a review of DirectGardening, also eburgess.com. Just wanted to show you 3 years later what's left of a $350 order from them. So the company uses this like supercomputer from the 1970s to like handle ordering systems, and they tell you that if you order something you get a chance to return or report that things have died if they didn't work out, because they're all like dormant plants that they keep in a bucket in some warehouse somewhere in Indiana or something. So it's a well-known kind of crappy company. I mean, it certainly is not a scam. They do send you things, but let me show you. They're always offering you free, and I didn't know better, and I planted them, and these are the ones that are alive, and there's about 13, you can't even see those, they're back behind everything else, but there's about 13 Rosa Sharons. That's why I planted them, now that I'm a little more understanding of what a Rosa Sharon actually is. It's something that grows in like the off areas of places, and it's like kind of invasive. You don't want to use it. So aside from that, 13 willow trees, but they were planted up there and they never survived. Like, it just didn't work out. Over here we have a black cherry tree that survived, but and then there's, I think, that one right there in the center is also a black cherry tree. As a fruit tree, I didn't realize that it's not really a fruit that you eat so much. You can maybe make a tincture out of it. Anyway, that's my fault for not understanding what that was, but I ordered $350 worth of stuff, and if you look on the website, everything is discounted. So if you're trying to get a good deal, you would think you would get lots of stuff that works out. I got one of these rose bushes from there, but I couldn't tell you which one it is. But exactly one worked out, and I think I ordered like 5 or 6. Of course, I went through their return policy, and I could never. I mean, I basically said like 95% of everything they sent me the first time. It took, I had sent them. You have to mail them in the copy of your shipping label, or else they don't believe you. And if that were to be lost in the mail, you're kind of screwed. That wasn't lost in the mail, but they lost it in their office. So it took like 50 emails of me screaming in an email, to get my refund, which ends up being a voucher to buy. Of course, doesn't really work out. So these are 3 dwarf cherry trees. They're Nanking cherries, I think, although I don't entirely know because they just call them dwarf cherries. But you can see that this one did the worst of the 3. So the first 2 grew, and then I had 5 of them, but 3 died. And eventually I used the voucher to buy 4 more, and 0 of the 4 others worked out. So like all the replacements except for this one didn't work out. And I don't even think this is a replacement. I think I ended up ordering more, and that one came. So everything else was either mowed to death or just died, or, pretty much. I mean, I made a mistake on one of them and mowed it, but the rest they're just sticks that you put in the ground. I mean, you put it in a bucket of water for like a day. I mean, we're not talking about a plant. We're talking about like a stick, like a clone that they made in a lab or something. Then so I've ordered over 100 plants from them. So far I've showed you like 13 invasive species plants that they sold me. A bunch of crown vetch, which is also one of those you can't get rid of. I didn't show you that, but it was in the back there as well. And then I got 2 of these bushes, and they're actually kind of neat. They're called like fire something bush, and they grow to, well, this one is 3 years old, as is this one, which unfortunately it's doing fine, but it's not nearly as big as the other one. Looks like we have a ornamental onion that's not related to them, but so they're great. And in the fall they change color, and they have these like little they look like miniature oranges on them, but whatever. We have these king boletes growing in our garden right now. There's a bunch of them. Of these plants, I believe this is a Japanese firebush or something like that, or purple firebush. That's the only, if that is indeed the same plant, that's the only one that out of, like I said, 100 plants that's still surviving from that era. There might be one or two yarrow that are in this group, but almost all of this stuff, man, almost all the stuff that they sent me didn't work out. So, and of course, because you have to fight them so much. Look, here we go. So this is a Rosa Sharon that I planted not knowing. And it's one of the only ones that I've left down here, but like I'll never get rid of it. Like you have to dig it out, and it's in such a difficult place to work with. I did not know, because they're always offering it to you for free. They're like, hey, if you buy 5 more things, we're going to give you 13 for free Rosa Sharon. And you're like, well, I don't know if I want that. But they just pack it in your order. And then you're like, well, I want to see these plants grow. I didn't know. I'll never plant another Rosa Sharon. There's one up the street that's like growing wildly, and it's completely destroyed the walkway that it was growing in, or the sidewalk. But I'll just show you where that. So we had like a erosion issue back here, and I did plant the crown vetch, and you can see it back there. It's the purple flowers right at the top of that like mound of dirt. And there's some more over there, but the rest of these plants came from local sources. This Lily of the Valley, I don't know if that's probably something that came along. This plant might be from their batch, but now that we have cats, we don't want any lilies. But that's about it. Everything else, nursery that we trust, or Lowe's, which I don't love going to, but they have tomato plants and such that we want sometimes. But so it's probably not worth using them, because of the way that they will never give you your money back, and there's like nothing you can do, because you'll order it. I ordered it in like January because I was getting excited about gardening at the beginning of winter. I don't know why, but and by April they started arriving. There were 2 shipments, and they send you this green plastic bag along with it that has a shipping label adhered to the outside that's been printed on like a dot matrix printer from like 1982, and you have to keep that label. They also send you some samples and free things that, like, I think some strawberries came one time and maybe they worked out. I'm not really sure. Of course I don't remember, because it's been a little while and we don't have any strawberries anymore from that year. We have new strawberries, or maybe they came back. I don't know. Maybe that worked out, but where's my, I ordered all of these really exotic bushes, and I have 2 to show for it. I think there were like 24 different, I got tons of bulbs of things that I don't even know, probably daffodil and other like boring stuff that you just don't really want to plant. And my wife doesn't want me to plant. So we threw those away or gave them away. But the number of invasive or worthless plants that they're giving you for free, like, why don't they just throw that crap away? Like, they don't need to give it to me. I'd rather have my money back, or a plant that's actually cool, that's actually useful. Or how about some seed packets or something that is just, anyway, they're not going to take any of this suggestion, because they don't take suggestions. They have the most draconian policies. They don't care about their customers, and it's well known. And if you read through like their Yelp and Google reviews, people are like, this is a well-known scam here in Indiana, and we don't like these people. And I've seen pictures. They move their office. They're in like one of those office parks. You assume that they have like the back area as like a refrigeration unit for their crap. And I mean, it's neat to be able to have a huge plant vault. Like, that all makes sense. The problem is the way the company is structured around this voucher system. I like that they're willing to work with you. The problem is that since it takes like 3 or 4 months for you to get your voucher, because they have to mail it to you. They mail you this like scrap of paper printed on a dot matrix printer. You get this thing, then you have to send it in along with your order, right? It's just very, very much set in its ways, and it's it's some of the policies appear good, but then at the end of the day, it's just a long rigmarole, and you really don't. You're not working. You're working for them to get your money, and it's just like, and at some point they just cut you off because you're getting replacements on replacements on replacements. I mean, you might as well just order from them and then immediately tell them that like 85-90% of the stuff didn't work out, because it doesn't. And that's the thing. It's just it's a good idea. Obviously, like, let's take an example of the dwarf cherries. What I believe is there was a series of dwarf cherries in their dormant state in storage. They sent me, and I mean, it's literally a plastic bag with like a broken stem and some roots on it, literally in a envelope. I mean, that's what you're getting. They sent me like 6, maybe 8 of those total. They were all from the same batch. They weren't newer. It took a year for me to get the replacements because of their shipping policy only happening around April. So if you're getting them in April and you're waiting a whole year to get the replacements, and they're from the same batch, they've been sitting dormant for an existing another year, which is why none of the other ones worked out, right? They sent me like a somewhat fresh batch. 3 out of 4 worked out, or 2 out of 4, sorry, worked out. So then the next time they sent me the same batch and 1 out of 6 worked out. Obviously the next year, 0 out of like 10 are going to work out, because plants can only lay dormant for so long. So that's what we're dealing with here. And that's true of almost every plant that they sent us, is some sort of dormant like clone that they put in water and grew roots on, and then they dried into a dormant state, and then they sent you. And if you look on YouTube, you'll see videos of people like, this is what I got, like, and showing the stemmy roots of a dormant plant and how they have to place it in water. And it does work out sometimes. Scientifically it does work out, but the ratio is so low, they ought to send you twice as many as you order, just to make sure that you get some percentage close to what it's just, the company is not set up in the right way. It's not a bad business fundamentally, but it has fundamental problems with it, if you got me. Hey, thanks for listening. I know it's been a long-winded 12 minutes, but I hope I can help you understand how this company operates and why it gets a 1.2 review.